Hey guys, welcome to Simplilearn's YouTube channel. Today we will be learning Tableau for data science. So we will get started with a brief introduction to Tableau. Followed by that, we will understand the fundamentals of Tableau, where we will be covering the overall tools and functionalities available in Tableau. Later, we will dive into the practical part where we will have hands-on session and try to design and develop real-time data science projects and dashboards. I hope I made myself clear with the agenda. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. Don't forget to hit that bell icon to never miss an update from Simplilearn. So what is Tableau? So before we understand what exactly is Tableau, let us imagine a simple situation. Imagine that you're an office worker and you get some loads of data, maybe like millions of rows or billions of rows, and you are supposed to extract the insights of that particular data. So what do? You basically load that data into a database and try to write the SQL commands and then try to extract the insights of that particular data. So this kind of approach is basically time consuming and you get exhausted. Now, what if you had a tool which could write all the SQL commands for you in the background and all you had to do is just to drag and drop the data? Sounds interesting, right? So Tableau is just the same. All you have to do is just drag and drop the data and it will automatically write all the SQL commands you ever wanted to write on that particular data, and it will give you live data interactions and advices for the future. Now with this, let us understand the definition of Tableau. So basically Tableau is a business and analytical software tool developed in America. Tableau helps people to understand, visualize, and make data-driven decisions in real time with extreme agility and accuracy. Now with this, let us continue with the next topic, which will be about the various versions of Tableau. So at first, we have the Tableau Desktop. So Tableau Desktop is a data visualization application to facilitate you to examine virtually any kind of structured data and generate highly interactive, beautiful graphs, dashboards, and reports within minutes. Once a quick installation, you can tie to virtually any data source from spreadsheets to data warehouses and display information in several graphic perspectives. Designed to be easy to utilize, you'll be working more rapidly than ever before. Next, we have the Tableau Server. It is a business intelligence application that offers browser-based analytics anyone can utilize. It is a rapid-fire alternative to the slow pace of traditional business intelligence software. It is an online solution meant for sharing, distributing, and collaborating on content created in Tableau. What makes Tableau different? It is proposed to everyone. There is no scripting required, so everyone can grow to be an analytics expert. You can grow your deployment as you require it. Train online for free, find answers in minutes and not in months. That's the speciality of Tableau. Now followed by the Tableau Server, we have Tableau Online. So Tableau Online is a business intelligence application that offers browser-based analytics anyone can utilize. As discussed before, it is a rapid-fire alternative to slow-paced traditional business intelligence software. So Tableau Online is a secure cloud-based solution for sharing and collaborating on Tableau views and dashboards. Next up, we have the Tableau Public. So now I want to give you guys a serious heads up if you're a beginner in Tableau. Tableau Public is like an open source. Whatever the data you choose to work on using Tableau Public, it goes to public. So kind of like Tableau Public is not preferable if you want to work on your company's sensitive and confidential data. Tableau Public is a free software to facilitate anyone to get connected to a spreadsheet or a file and create interactive data visualizations for the web. It is delivered as a service that permits the user to be up to and running overnight. With Tableau Public, users can construct amazing interactive visuals and publish them quickly without the help of programmers or IT. It is designed for organizations to facilitate their websites with interactive data visualizations. There are higher limits on the size of data you can work with, and among other features, you can keep your underlying data hidden. And lastly, we have Tableau Reader. Tableau Reader is a free desktop application that you can use to open and interact with data visualizations built in Tableau Desktop. With Tableau Reader, you can filter, drill down, and discover humongous loads of data. Now moving ahead, we have the features of Tableau. So these are the few important features that you might want to consider. Those are the first one, robust security. Tableau takes special care of data and user security. It has a foolproof security-based authentication and permission systems for data connections and users access. Tableau also gives you the freedom to integrate with other security protocols such as Active Directory, Kerberos, etc. An important point to note here is that the Tableau practices low-level filtering, which helps in keeping the data secure. Followed by that, we have the collaboration and sharing feature. Tableau provides convenient options to collaborate with other users and instantly share data in the form of visualizations, sheets, dashboards, etc. in real time. It allows you to securely share data from various data sources such as on-premise, on-cloud, hybrid, etc. Instant and easy collaboration and data sharing helps in getting quick reviews or feedback on data, leading to a better overall analysis of it. Another extremely useful feature of Tableau is the use of time series and forecasting. Easy creation of trend lines and forecasting is possible due to Tableau's powerful backend and dynamic frontend. You can easily get data predictions such as a forecast or a trend line by simply selecting some options and drag and drop operations using your concerned fields. Next up, we have live and in-memory data. Tableau ensures connectivity with both live data sources and data extraction from external sources as in-memory data. This gives the user the flexibility to use the data from more than one type of data source without any restrictions. You can use data directly from data source by establishing live data connections, or keep that data in memory by extracting data from a data source as per their requirement. Tableau provides additional features to support data connectivity such as an automatic extract refreshes, notifying the user upon live connection fail, etc. Next, we have informative view and even the mobile view. One of the key features of Tableau, and the one that got its popularity, is its wide range of visualizations. In Tableau, you can make visualizations such as bar chart, pie chart, Gantt chart, bullet chart, motion chart, tree map, box plot, and many more. Like you name it, Tableau got it. You can select and create any kind of visualizations easily by selecting the visualization type from the Show Me tab. Apart from that, it is capable to represent data in mobile view as well. Tableau acknowledges the importance of mobile phones in today's world and provides the mobile versions of Tableau app. The next and the last feature is that being capable of accessing data from various kinds of data sources. Tableau offers a wide range of data source options where you can get connected and fetch data from data sources ranging from on-premise files, spreadsheets, relational databases, non-relational databases, online cloud data, data warehouses, and many more. So followed by the features, now we'll discuss about the advantages of Tableau. So following are the advantages of using Tableau. First one, it has remarkable visualization capabilities. Of course, the unparalleled capabilities of visualizing information is on top of the list of Tableau's software benefits. Followed by that, we have the ease of use. The tool's intuitive manner of creating graphics and a user-friendly interface allows non-developers to utilize the basic app's functionalities to the fullest. Users arrange raw data into catchy diagrams in a drag-and-drop way, which facilitates information analyzing and eliminates the need for the help of IT department and pattern building. Next, high performance. Apart from its high visualization functionality, users rates its overall performance as robust and reliable. The tool also operates fast on big data, which makes it powerful performance on an important point on the list of the advantages of Tableau. And next is the mobile friendliness. One of our best advantages out of the Tableau benefits is its efficient mobile application, which is available for both iOS and Android. It adds mobility to Tableau users and allows them to keep statistics at their fingertips, as well as supports their functionality that desktop and online versions have. And finally, we have the thriving community and forum. Tableau has a rich community. The number of Tableau fans who invest their expertise and skills in the community is increasing rapidly. Business users can beef up their knowledge on data processing and reporting and get many useful insights in this community. Also, forum visitors are ready to help settle any user issues and also share their experience. Next up, we have the disadvantages of Tableau. The first major disadvantage is the high cost. The Tableau is not the most expensive visualization software, especially compared to such business intelligence giants such as Oracle's and IBM solutions. All the same, the license is quite costly for small and medium companies, which makes it one of the considerable Tableau's disadvantages. Next is the inflexible pricing. Tableau's sales team is not flexible enough to provide case-by-case approach for their customers, ignoring the fact that each company has its own unique requirements for visualization tool package. The Tableau sales model requires clients to purchase and extend license from the start. As a result, a lot of companies that use Tableau arrive at the conclusion that they don't need all their licensed features. They would prefer to buying a set of requirements and scale them if necessary. Followed by that, the next disadvantage is poor after-sales support. On multiple message boards, users complain that Tableau software lacks proper after-sales maintenance. If customer has software performance problem, the support team does not settle the matter by investigating the problem's root and eliminating it. Next, we have the poor BI capability or the poor business intelligence capability. As previously mentioned, the tool provides best-in-class information visual interpretation. However, it lacks the functionality required for a fully fledged business intelligence tool such as large-scale reporting, the building of data tables, and statistic layouts. And lastly, the poor versioning. Only the recent Tableau versions support revision history, while for the older ones, software rolling back is impossible.
If getting your learning started is half the battle, what if you could do that for free? Visit Skill Up by Simplilearn. Click on the link in the description to know more.
So Tableau is a business and analytical software tool developed in America. Tableau helps people to understand, visualize, and make data-driven decisions in real time with extreme agility and accuracy. To better understand what exactly Tableau does, let us imagine that you're given some data in the form of Excel sheet that has thousands or even lakhs of rows and some hundreds of columns or even thousands of columns. And you had to kind of filter or kind of apply some operations on that and get some insights of that particular data. So basically, if you do it in a brute force method, it could be really time consuming. But what if there is a software that can write all the SQL queries possible on your data, and all the data you wanted is readily available, or all the information you ever wanted on your data is readily available just by a single click? Yes, exactly. That's what exactly Tableau does. It automatically writes all your SQL queries in the background, and it can provide you the information in the form of a variety of charts like the bar charts, pie charts, and it can even give you some live data and also the advices based on which you can move ahead and improve your business. Now let's go through some sample data and understand how it exactly does it. So on my screen you can see some Excel data which is based on some store in America. So here you'll be having different regions of America, that is South, North, East and West, and the category of furnitures, subcategory bookcase, and etc., which kind of category is selling most in which kind of region, and what's the discount, what's the quantity, and what's the profit, etc., in this particular Excel data. So you'll be using this particular Excel data to get some insights of the sales happening in America. So this is how business intelligence works basically. So here we should use the Microsoft Excel to get the necessary insights of this particular data. Now just select all these cells of this particular Excel and select insert, and on the left corner you can see pivot table. Select that, and here if you had an existing worksheet you can select the existing worksheet, or if you don't have that you can select the new worksheet option and then just press OK. Now we have our pivot table over here, and we have our fields in the Excel data on the right side part. Now just select a region and push that into the columns, and now let's select sales and push that into the values. Now we have the sum of sales option, so we have the east zone, central zone, south zone, west zone, and the summation of sales happening in that particular section of America or region of America. Now we can also make some changes to the values, like we have summation, and we can select some value field settings, and inside that you can go through count, average, maximum, minimum, and select few more options based on which you have to calculate it. Now let's push the rows, or let's push the regions from columns to rows so that we can have some good data in a more understandable form of view. So there you go, you have the central region, east, south and west on the left side, and on the right side you have the summation of sales happening in that particular region and the grand total of the sales. Now let's try to do this in the Tableau. So there you go, your Tableau just got started. So on the left side, you have got the connect option and the various types of files it supports. That is the Microsoft Excel, text file, JSON file, Microsoft Access, and more on that in the next upcoming part where we'll have a tour on that. Now, let's select Excel. So we have already an Excel file on the downloads part. Just select that one and just open it. And there you go, you can see all the rows and columns here. Now let's go to our sheet. So on the screen you can see that on the left part we have the data which is connected to the Tableau, that is sheet 1, the store data, and these are the dimensions and these are the measures. So basically Tableau divides the data into dimensions and measures automatically, and you can see some options provided on the top row, which is the file, data, worksheet, dashboard, story, analysis, map, format, window, help, etc. And here you can see some marks, which is the color. So here you can just imagine that you worked on some bar data or bar chart, so that you can use color options to provide different colors to your bars. And you can also select the size of your bars, add some text if you wanted to add in, and you can add some details if you wanted, and some tool tips, etc. And on the right side you can see show me option, and this particular tray helps you to get different types of charts you wanted to keep on your data. For example, you want to select pie chart, you can just select pie chart. If you wanted to go with bar chart, you can go with bar, and some area charts, and you can see maps, etc. And the best part is when you hover over this particular chart or any kind of selection you wanted to make, then Tableau automatically helps you for having the dimensions and measures for that particular chart. You can see in the bottom part where it is highlighted for pie charts, try one or more dimensions and one or two measures. So if you hover over the bar chart, you can see that Tableau tells you for side-by-side bar charts, try one or more dimensions and one or more measures. So basically it is telling you to have one or more dimensions or one or more measures in order to use the side-by-side bar charts. Now let's do the same thing what we did in Excel. So here we'll just select the region and pull that over the columns, and now we shall select the sales and push that over the rows, and there you go. You can see the bar chart over here, and it's automatically telling you the kind of sales happening in that particular region. Now you can even select the region part and drag that over to color so that it gives you different colors. Now if you see on the right side show me tab, you can see different types of charts available for your data. So you can have a pie chart, you can have the bar chart, you can have few more map charts, etc, etc. So that's how Tableau gives you automatically all the types of options that you can work on the data visualization by using different types of charts. So that's how Tableau basically works. Now we will go into the next step where I'll help you to install Tableau into your local system. Once the installation is done, we will get back to Tableau again, and we will understand each and every part of Tableau in much more detail, and we'll also work on each and every type of chart present over here, and we'll work on multiple sheets, and finally we'll enter into the dashboard. So far so good. I hope you have understood the basic introduction to Tableau and basics of the Tableau fundamentals, how to use rows and columns, what are dimensions, what are measures, and what is show me, and how do you change colors of your bar charts over here, and you can highlight this. So we'll work on everything after we finish the installation process and get back to worksheets.
If getting your learning started is half the battle, what if you could do that for free? Visit SkillUp by Simplilearn. Click on the link in the description to know more.
So before we go any further on Tableau installation, let us understand the Tableau products first. So there are multiple types of Tableau products. So here we will be having Tableau's desktop, Tableau public, Tableau server, Tableau online, and Tableau reader. So let us understand Tableau desktop first. Tableau desktop is a paid desktop application. It is also called as Tableau Desktop Professional Edition. This is where the developers create charts, formula, dashboards, actions, and everything. It has a 14-day trial too. The dashboards we create here can be published on any server listed above. The data can also be opened from Tableau Reader. Moving ahead, we shall understand the Tableau Desktop. So for beginners, let me tell you, Tableau Desktop is like open source data. Whatever the data or whatever the sheets, whatever the dashboards you work on using Tableau Public will be available for public. So keep this as your reminder. And it is not preferable if you want to use Tableau for your company's confidential data, because it might go public and it might be risky. So Tableau Public Desktop is a free desktop application. It is the developer place for Tableau Public Server. It is free and has to come with some limitations like cloud save only, no live or database connection. They are widely used by learners, bloggers, and public information related institutes like media, etc. Now moving ahead, we have the Tableau server. So Tableau server is a free server in the internet. This is the YouTube or Blogspot in Tableau data visualization world. It is free and people post their ideas and visualizations here. We call it the visual blog. It has no user management or folder management options. You can hide your work though. It cannot have live data source, but only extract. So many people publish their ideas and custom visualizations here. We could find the inspiration from here. Now next we have the Tableau Online. Tableau Online is a paid server application too, but it is already hosted by Tableau software and so no need to install it on any Windows server. It is better you need the Tableau dashboards to be accessed from anywhere. It has almost all the features of Tableau server but only on the internet, not on your local system. And finally we have the Tableau Reader. So Tableau Reader is a free desktop application which can help us to view the Tableau dashboards created by Tableau Desktop. It supports only extract connection files. It can help new people to try Tableau by getting one license for Tableau Desktop and installing this free software on their end user's machine. It can open the dashboards, interact with them like filtering, tooltip, and parameters. We cannot edit the formula or charts here. Now I hope we have some good understanding of Tableau, its introduction, and the various products of Tableau available for users. Now let's begin with the installation. So the third segment, Tableau installation into your local system. Now here we'll be trying the Windows operating system. Now to install Tableau into your local system, all you have to do is open Google and type in download Tableau Public. And you have the first option that reads download now Tableau Public. I would recommend for beginners to select Tableau Public because it is free. Now let's go back to Google once. Now on my screen we have opened Google. Just now type in download Tableau. So once you type in download Tableau, you can see various options. The first one though is Tableau Desktop, which is a paid version. As I said you have to select Tableau and it is free of cost, and you can try out your sample data over here for free. And once you select the Tableau Public option, you have this particular web page open. And if you go back to the presentation, you can see that I have written something called abc@gmail.com. This is basically your email address for getting registered and downloading the application. So you can write in your email over here, which can be anything like I have written abc@gmail.com. Just make sure that the mail ID you provide is an official one or it is an operational one, as you might have to confirm your download. Once you write in your mail ID, just select the download app option and you can see on the bottom left corner the application will be getting downloaded. Now I have already downloaded the Tableau public desktop exe file into my local system, so I'll just cancel it for now. Now we are back on the presentation mode, and we were in this particular stage where the Tableau public desktop.exe was getting downloaded. Once the file is downloaded, just run the file from your downloads part and you can see this particular screen on your Windows, which will greet you, welcome to Tableau. And here you might have to select I have read and accept all the terms of the license and just install. And there you go, the Tableau Public 2020.4 is installing into your local system, and that's how you install Tableau into your local system. Now we have entered into our next segment where we will be having the Tableau tour. So once you open your Tableau, your screen will be looking something like this. So this is the Tableau in my local system, and you'll be having the screen which is similar to the presentation one. And here you have various options to connect to your data file, which might be an Excel, text file, JSON file, Microsoft Access, PDF file, spatial file, statistical file, or if you had to download some data directly from the server, you can even do that. So now we'll be working with the local data or the local Excel file in your local system. Just select that Excel file and open it. And there you go, you're on your first worksheet. Just select the Go to Worksheet option and you'll be having your screen redirected directly into the worksheet. And you have the dimensions and measures on your left corner, and you have the Show Me tab on your right corner, and some marks in here, and filters, pages, and various options on your toolbar. Now we have finished the introductory tour to our Tableau, and we'll understand more about all the options provided in this particular Tableau screen through our worksheets as we start with our first worksheet. So far we have understood what is business intelligence and the Tableau's role in improving your business. Followed by that we have understood what exactly Tableau is. Then we have understood how to install Tableau into your local system, and we had a brief introduction or brief tour on Tableau. Now we will move ahead and continue with making our own worksheets and the dashboards based on the worksheets we have worked with. So advancing into the fifth part, we will be working with the Tableau worksheets, and followed by the worksheets, we will be working on the sixth part, which is the dashboards. Now without further ado, let's get back to Tableau. So we have successfully booted up our Tableau and we are on the home screen of the Tableau. And on the left bar, you can see that we have various connect options to the Microsoft Excel, text file, JSON file, Microsoft Access, PDF file, spatial file, statistical file, etc. And if you had to connect to a server, this particular option is not provided in the public Tableau. It might be available in the server Tableau. And you can see that if you had to connect to the server just in case, then you're provided with various options here. Like you can connect with Google Sheets, OData, Web Data Connector, etc. etc. So today we'll be working with local data that is present in my local system that happens to be an Excel file. So you can see that in my downloads we have a set of Excel files. So we'll be selecting car sales updated data file. Now you can see that the data has been connected to the Tableau and the rows and columns have been presented on the screen. So before getting started with Tableau, let's have a quick update on the data. So many times it happens that you download a data from Google and sometimes one or the other rows or columns might have some incomplete data. As you can see, there is an incomplete cell over here, which is the curb weight of a particular vehicle that happens to be Cadillac Chevrolet. You can either try to remove this row or you can add some value over here. Like I'm going to add some value. I'm just going to drag this one because they both look a little bit similar. They have a same wheelbase and a kind of same width, so might be the curb weight might match. So we'll just drag it over here, or we'll just write it. Okay, I forgot to enable editing. Fine. So I'll just drag it here and I will have some values. Let's change it a little bit. Okay, so you can see that we have filled up the cell over here. Let's just check if anything else is incomplete. Yeah, there is another one incomplete over here. Let us just add some random values because this is just for practice. Yep, everything else seemed to be fine. So the important point or the update I wanted to give you guys is that when you save this, so when you get into a file and save as sales updated, so when you save it, make sure that you select the Excel workbook. If you don't select the Excel workbook, you might face some troubles while connecting the data to your Tableau. That was the important update I wanted to give you guys. So just select OK, and your data has been saved now. And let's get back to Tableau. Now let's connect to the data again. By selecting the connect data option, you can see the dialog box come up on my screen. So you can just select Microsoft Excel and car sales updated. Open, and you can see the data got connected just now again, and you can see the rows and columns over here. So everything looks fine, and now let's get back to our sheet. So this is the sheet we'll be working on. We'll be creating multiple sheets. So we are creating multiple sheets because we have some options over here. You can see that, right? So this is the sheet, and this is the new sheet option, and this is the new dashboard option, and this is a storyteller option. So basically we'll be working on multiple sheets, and then we'll start a new dashboard, and we will drag all the sheets that we have worked on onto the dashboard so that we can have a view on all the sheets in one single screen. So basically that's what dashboard is. There are multiple operations on dashboard, like connecting to multiple dashboards together and applying some operations like filter, etc. on the dashboards. We will learn more advanced topics on dashboards in the advanced part, which is the next part 2 of the Tableau tutorial. So we'll have a basic understanding of Tableau functions in this particular part 1 right now. No worries on that. So you can see that we have options or the row names written in 2 different colors. You can see that the manufacturer, model, vehicle type, etc. are written in blue, and we can see that there is some sort of ABC text represented on the left side. And similarly on the other half, you can see the curve weight, engine size, fuel capacity, fuel efficiency, horsepower, length, price, etc. And you can see that there is an asterisk written just besides them. So why is this difference? Because Tableau automatically categorizes your data. So it will categorize the data into 2 forms, that is the dimensions and measures. So the dimensions happen to be the unique values of the data, and the values are the numerical values used in your data. So basically the curve weight is a numerical value, engine size is a numerical value, the price, resale values, width, wheelbase, car sales, etc. are the numerical values. And in the dimensions you have manufacturer, model, vehicle type. This happens to be the non-numerical values. So the manufacturer might be Audi, BMW, etc., etc., and the model would be some 320i from BMW, S-Class from Mercedes, etc., etc. And vehicle type might be some just a car or off-roading vehicle, something like that. So these are the non-numerical values. So these are categorized into dimensions. So sometimes there is a chance that you will also find the numerical values in measures. Like just imagine that you are in a college, and the name, address, and your percentage, etc., etc. are your values, and the percentage will be categorized into the numbers, which is the measures. And if you have a student ID which happens to be a number, that will not be in the measures, that will be in the dimensions. But why? Roll number happens to be a numerical value. because the student ID will be considered as a unique value, and Tableau automatically considers it as a dimension. If you want that to be in the measures, no problem in that. You can just drag it down into the measures and it will lie in the measures from dimensions. So that's about the left tabular column where you can see the dimensions and the measures used in your data. And these are the filter options, these are the page options. This is a mark sheet where you can make some modifications onto your chart by making different colors, sizes of the charts, adding text to your results, and adding some details, adding some tooltip. Tooltip is basically something which explains you about the data which you're working with. We'll work on that. We'll see everything in detail, no worries on that. And now coming on to the right side, you can see the Show Me tab, which will help you with the various kinds of charts available that you can work with. So you have text tables, you have heat maps, you can have pie charts, you can have symbol maps, and just maps, pie chart, and side-by-side bar chart, stacked bar chart, horizontal bars, line graph, etc., etc. You can have scatter plots, you can have histogram, you can have box and whisker plots, and many more. Don't worry, we'll be working with various types of charts over here. And the best part of Tableau is that if you wanted to use a specific chart, then it will automatically help you with the kind of data you need for that. For example, if you wanted to go with text tables, you can see that it is providing you the prescriptions over here. So it needs one or more dimensions or one or more measures together on the rows and columns in order to use this kind of text table kind of chart to represent your data with. And if you wanted to go with a pie chart, it says you need to have one or more dimensions and one or two measures. That is a must. If you have these kind of data on your rows and columns, only then you can use a pie chart. So this actually helps you out in real time. And now let's get started with our data. Now let's try to identify which is the manufacturer with the highest pricing. Now when you double click on the sheet, you can actually edit it, or you can actually right click on that and just select the rename option, and you can rename it. Now let's select or just write in the highest pricing. Yeah, there you go. Highest pricing is the name of our sheet right now. And now let's grab the manufacturer and drop it down onto the columns. And now let's select the price from the measures and drop it down onto the rows. Yeah, there you go. You can see that we have the data output on our screen. So this particular bar chart helps us identify that Mercedes-Benz has the highest pricing amongst the other manufacturers. Now you can actually make some modifications onto this chart, like you can increase the size of the bars. It is automatically selected over here. You can just scroll it to the right and left by manually, and you can make some changes to the bars. And apart from that, you can even choose an option here which says the sort ascending by sum of price with manufacturer. Basically it sorts it out. So if you select this particular option, you can sort it from the least value to the highest value in the ascending order. And if you choose this one, it'll be arranged in the descending order, and you'll get to see the highest one on the left and the lowest one on the right. So this is how it works. And you can see that the first highest pricing manufacturer is the Mercedes-Benz, and the least manufacturing pricing is the Infiniti. And you can see the Beamer over here, the BMW. Personally, I'm a fan of BMW. Okay, now it's just looking, kind of plain without some any additional colors or without a vibrant way of representing your data. I think you know what I mean. So for that, you can just the drag the manufacturer onto the color option, and voila, you can see different colors for different manufacturers. And this one basically tells you the highest manufacturer, or this color basically tells you the highest pricing manufacturer, that is the Mercedes-Benz. And yeah, and another option is the chart type. So basically, when you chose the manufacturer and the sum of price, the Tableau automatically chose the bar chart. But you can change that. You can just select a line over here, and you can see the complete data has been represented in the form of a line, and you can even select density, and you can select area. So this is how you can change the way you can represent your data. So automatic was the best one over here. So basically the Tableau automatically chose the best way to represent your data, which happened to be the bar chart. You can even select the shape though, and you can make some changes to the shapes. So that's how it is. Now let's get back to automatic again, and it's got the bar chart again. Now let's try to create a new sheet, and this time we'll be working on the horsepower. So which manufacturer offers the highest horsepower? Yeah, so we are on the sheet 2 now. You can see that we have named it to highest horsepower. And yeah, when you come back to this one, you can see the name over here. You can even edit your table by just double clicking on the name, and you can reset some things over here, and that's how it is. And now when we come back to the horsepower, which is the second sheet, I think you remember, right? We are making multiple sheets just so that we can work on our dashboard. So now on the second sheet, we'll be taking up the model name. We are going to identify the car which is having the highest horsepower. Okay, those are a lot of cars. Now just select the sort option, and there you go. We have the Dodge Viper. Yeah, Dodge Viper happens to be a muscle car, and yeah, it should be having the highest horsepower in the manufacturing model, or what do you say it, the basic model without any modifications to it, extra modifications. So the production model of the Viper will be having a 450 brake horsepower. That's really huge. Now we can actually make some modifications. Since we have different manufacturers like Bema, Merck, and any other manufacturers, you can actually categorize the models over here. You just need to drag the manufacturer over here, and you can bring the manufacturer to the first position, and then the model. Okay, another trick I would like to tell you guys is, if you wanted to switch the manufacturer with the model, then all you have to do is just drag the model and place it on the manufacturer. This will automatically switch them. Okay, I didn't place it correctly, I hope. So when you do it, it will actually switch it. Yeah, that's how it's done. So we're going to categorize this models based on the manufacturer now. Let's bring back our manufacturer. Now let's drag it to the second place. And now we have the manufacturer first. So you can see that the data got automatically categorized based on the manufacturer. You can see we have Acura, which happens to be the American version of Honda. So we have Integra, RL, TL, what happens to be the car or model names. So these are the cars offered from Acura with the horsepower 255, or no, it's 225, and 210 and 140. So this is actually the tooltip, which is giving you the data according to that bar chart. And now we have the Dodge Viper here with the highest horsepower in the production model. You know, the Dodge and the Ford are known for their muscle cars with highest horsepower. And here we have the Merc and Mitsubishi, Nissan, and some other Plymouth, Porsche, etc., etc. Now we'll go ahead and create our next worksheet. So let's name it the fuel efficiency. Now let's select the manufacturer and the fuel efficiency on the rows. Now let's select a different type of chart over here. I think you remember the color option. And if you close the show me option, and then you can see the manufacturer over here. Now you can just make some changes for it. You can actually select a manufacturer and you can either keep only or you can remove it. So in Tableau you have the Control Z option, which will undo the changes you have done. You can actually exclude if you want someone to be excluded from the list. So I've excluded Buick. So this was the one we excluded. So that's how you can do it. So when you press on the tool tip, you can see that we'll be having the manufacturer, and followed by manufacturer we'll be having the fuel efficiency provided by that manufacturer. So you can see that we have the good fuel efficiency from Chevrolet and the considerable efficiency from Jaguar. So basically Jaguars are the luxury cars which provide you the maximum comfort and maximum drive feel, so it will actually consume a lot of fuel. Now let's get back and create another sheet, and let's name it as highest resale. Now let's select the highest resale value and model. Now let's arrange it. So according to that, Carrera Cabrio has the highest resale value. That's good. Let's drag the color. There you go. Let's have the manufacturer here so that we can have a good idea of which manufacturer has the highest resale value. So Mercedes has the highest resale value, and also we have the model names over here. We can remove model from marks. This is the reason why we have multiple cars from single manufacturer. So we have all the cars from a single manufacturer. If we remove this model from the marks sheet, you can just see the manufacturer here. Now actually we can make some changes to the sizes. We have the size option in our mark sheet, right? So you can just drag and drop the manufacturer on the size, and then you have various sizes for the various options. And when you come to the rows, you can see that we have the sum of resale values. Basically you can make some changes to it. You can just select measure, and inside measure you have various options of providing average, median, count, minimum, maximum. So let's go with maximum, and now let's try to drag the manufacturer again onto the size, and this time you have the different sizes. So you have Porsche over here, Mercedes-Benz over here. So this is how the categorization takes place. Now let's create a new sheet and understand the filter option. Now just let's name it as filter. And now let's drag the manufacturer. So we have the manufacturer in our columns, and now yeah, we discussed that the highest pricing is from Mercedes, right? So if we wanted to find the next leading one, actually you can see it on the screen, but just imagine that we have a lot of options rather than the few options which are available on the screen. Then what if you wanted to find the second leading highest pricing car? So in that case, you can just make some filters onto it, right? You can add or remove options using filter. So I would like to drag the manufacturer into filter and select all from the list, OK, and apply. Now you can just select the filter, right click it and edit filter, and you can see all the options over here. Just select OK. Now let's right click the manufacturer and select the show filter option so that you can have a filter bar on the right side. So now you can actually remove some options by selecting them. If you just click on the Mercedes-Benz, you can actually see the Mercedes-Benz got removed from the list. So you can see after the Mercedes-Benz, the highest pricing is from Dodge and Lexus. So this is how you can use filters. Let's bring back Mercedes-Benz again. Yeah, there you go. So far we have dealt with the bar charts and the overlapping bar charts, or what do you call it? This is the stacked bars, yeah, I forgot. And line graphs. Now we'll deal with the scatter plots and pie charts now. Yeah, so for that, let's create a new worksheet. Let's name it as scatter plot. There you go. Okay, spelling mistake. So when you had to use the scatter plot, the special thing about scatter plot is you need to select both the axes, that is row and column. And when you're selecting the values for rows and columns, you need to select the values from this particular segment, which happens to be the measures. So you'll not be selecting anything from the dimensions. So for now, let's select the engine size for columns and horsepower for rows. So we've selected the engine size for columns and horsepower for rows. So once you have selected the data, you can see a dot over here, which happens to be the engine size for 70 and horsepower 28,000 for 28. This is some random value. Now let's dig a bit more detail into the scatter plot. Now to know the exact details of all the models and all the engine size and horsepower, let's drag the model name into the detail. Now you have some good, a more representable or the more readable form of data. So you can see that we have the highest horsepower engine, that is Dodge Viper, and the engine size is 8 liters and the horsepower offered is 450. Now if you have dragged the manufacturer into the details, then you can see that we have the manufacturer name as well. So the Viper belongs to Dodge, and if you kind of select the manufacturer into shape, then we can actually have different shapes for different manufacturers. So you have the shape option over here. So you can see that we have various shapes for various makers. For example, we have the plus symbol for BMW. So if you can just select keep only BMW, then we have two cars from BMW, which happens to be the model 320i, and the engine size is around 2.8 liters and the horsepower is 193 brake horsepower. And another car we have from BMW is the 323i with the engine size 2.5 and the horsepower 170. Now if you want to bring back all the cars, the simple step is just press Ctrl Z and you have all the cars back in here. And if you want to highlight a specific car, then select the highlighting option. And then let's select Dodge. You can see the Dodge cars got highlighted over here. So just select Dodge Viper, and then we have Dodge Durango. I don't know how to spell that. I'm sorry if it's wrong. And then Dodge Ram Van, and we have the Dodge Intrepid over here. So if we hover onto the highlighted parts, we have the Dodge over there. So that's how you highlight it. Now we have worked on the scatter plot. Now let's create a new sheet and let's work on the pie chart now. I'm just writing pie and it's done. So for a pie chart, you need to select an option and hold Control and select another option together, and then we can do a pie chart. So for that, let's follow the steps. Open Show Me, select pie chart. Okay, I forgot to say, actually we need to select the dimensions first. So let's select something from dimensions. Okay, let's select manufacturer and hold Control, and let's select some value from the measures. So let's select sales. So now open Show Me, and there you go, you have the tab. So I'm in the pie chart in the tab. So we have the pie chart over here. Now I think we can increase the size of the pie chart. So you can just drag it manually, and you can see that the pie chart size is getting increased. So here we have the manufacturer, and it has the sales. Ford has the highest sales, and followed by Ford we have Dodge, and then we have Honda and Chevrolet, Toyota. So far we have understood the types of charts you can make, the types of options that are color, size, label, detail, tooltip, etc, etc, and filters, and the Show Me tab, etc, etc. Now we will move ahead and try to understand hierarchy in Tableau. So let's kind of make a new sheet. Let's rename it as hierarchy. Now we know that the model and manufacturer can be considered as an hierarchy because a model comes under manufacturer. So we can use these two from dimensions and use them as hierarchies. Now let's try to drag model onto manufacturer, and this should automatically show me a dialog box on my screen. Now let's rename it as manufacturer model hierarchy, or just let it be as H so that it's a bit more readable. Now you can see that we have the manufacturer model H hierarchy, and inside that we have the manufacturer and model. Now we can drag the manufacturer model hierarchy onto columns, and we can drag the car sales into rows, and we have the hierarchy values over here. Let's rearrange them. And now if you press the plus option, it's really minor. I don't know how to expand the screen. Let's try Control plus or Shift plus. It's not working. So I think you can see the minute plus option over here. Now let's try to press that plus option, and there you go. You have these sales according to the manufacturer and the models, and that too in hierarchy. Let's remove the car sales and try to put in the horsepower over there. Yeah, you can see the horsepower of each and every car, which is categorized according to the manufacturer. So in Ford we have various types of cars available, and similarly in Toyota, Mercedes-Benz, Chevrolet, Mitsubishi, etc., etc. So that's how the hierarchy works. Now I hope we had a sound understanding of how to create various types of charts, and we have the filter option, scatter plot, pie chart, hierarchy, everything discussed so far. I think you have a brief idea how to work with Tableau. Now let's go through an example of dashboards. Now let's rename this dashboard as car dashboard. Now dashboard is no rocket science. The only thing you do is just select the charts you've worked on and drag them onto your dashboard. That's all. Now let's select the scatter plot and drag it onto the chart. And now let's try to drag the horsepower. And now the fuel efficiency. So you can see the horsepower and fuel efficiency and the highest number of sales and the horsepower compared to engine size all together on one dashboard. So you can see the dashboard name over here, which is a car dashboard. Now you can have some options over here, like you can download the dashboard image and much more. You can even make multiple dashboards just like we made the worksheets, and then you can interconnect the dashboards and you can work multiple operations on multiple dashboards. I hope you had a good understanding of Tableau in Tableau tutorial for beginners. And now let's get back to the presentation. So today we'll be dealing with the Tableau project. So the first dataset that we will be using for the Tableau project is based on COVID-19 data. Followed by that we'll have another project based on the airline data. And finally the third project will be based on space missions data. Now let's begin with our first project. So in this first project we'll be dealing with the COVID-19 dataset, and using that dataset we'll be getting some insights. So what are those insights? Those are, what are the total number of confirmed cases in different nations? What are the total number of recovered cases in different nations? So we'll be using the map chart for these, and we'll be finding out the insights about how are the cases going on in the current situation or in the current date or year. Followed by that, we'll also look into the insights of the confirmed and recovered cases in India as well. Followed by that, we'll enter into the next query where we'll find out the trend line of COVID-19 in the international level, like how it started, how is it going on. And moving forward, we'll create a group of Indian states and we'll find out the COVID hits there, and then we will discuss about the death rates. So highest death rates at international level and the least death rates in the international level. Then we'll enter into the next segment where we'll find out the variation in COVID-19 cases around the world. And then finally, we'll discuss the future of COVID-19 in the international levels. Basically, we'll create a trend line which will give us the forecast levels of the COVID-19, like is it going to increase or is it going to decrease, or what's going to happen in the near future. So I hope I made myself clear with the queries or the insights that we're going to take from the COVID-19 dataset using Tableau. So without further ado, let's get started with the Tableau. So we are on Tableau right now, so we'll be using an Excel data file. So we'll be using the COVID-19 data file. So this particular data set is available on Kaggle, and if you don't find it there, don't worry, we'll be attaching that particular data set in the description box below. You can use that as well. Now let's just select open to get connected with that particular data. So you can see that we just got connected with that data, and there will be some minute errors in the data, or there will be some problem with the data which the Tableau might identify, and when it identifies something messy with the data, it will show you an option. Maybe you might want to use the data interpreter, so I prefer using that. So whenever I see that particular option on the left hand side, I better use it for the safer side, for being on safer side with the data. And let's also select these, not a problem. Yeah, so the data got clean now. You can see that over here. So to do that, you can also check the review results. So when you click that review results option, then you'll get into this particular Excel document, which will help you with the changes made to that data set. So you can see that the orange color one says the data is interpreted as column headers or field name, and the green box suggests you that data is interpreted as values in your data source. And now you can see that. There you go. So now we'll get back to Tableau. Now you can see that the data has been interpreted successfully by the Tableau, and everything is as expected by the Tableau. Every data element in the dataset is as expected by the Tableau, and it's really fine now. Now we'll check the columns what we have in our dataset right over here. So we have the serial numbers, observation dates, province, state, and country or region, last update, and confirmed deaths recovered. So basically these three columns will be telling us the confirmed cases in that particular region, country or state, and the deaths happened in that region, country or state, and recovered rate, and the last update, when was the last test done, the latest test done, and in which region, and what's the observation date, what's the observation results on that particular date, and the serial numbers, etc., etc. So we have the clear understanding of a data set now. Let's get started with the first sheet what we have over here. So according to our first query, we had to find out the total number of confirmed cases in different nations. So for that, we might want to select the country or region, and then the confirmed from measures. So for that, we'll be selecting the map chart for this, so that we have the data shown in a more appealing format. So now we have the bluer color of map on our screen right now, where the darkest color shows the maximum number of cases confirmed, and the lighter ones represent the lower number of cases confirmed. Now let's make this look a little more interesting. So for that, we can select the edit color options, and inside that, let's select the red to green diverging. Yeah, this is it. Red to green, white diverging. And as you can see, the colors are a little opposite right now. So we want the greener one in the lower side, and the red colored one on the higher side. This should be good. So let's select OK and apply and OK. So you can see that the red color now represents the highest number of cases, and a lighter red one here, you can see a little touch of red, which shows that the India's got some good amount of cases as well, and in the Brazil, and etc., etc. So even Russia has a little light green. So this shows it also has some good amount of cases, not completely green though. Yeah, so this is how it looks. Now let's rename the sheet as confirmed cases. At the international level. Now, according to our second query, we are supposed to find the total number of recovered cases in different nations. So now let's create a new sheet for that. Now for that, we'll be selecting the country or region, and then we'll be selecting the recovered, and hover over to the show me icon, and let's select the map for that. Now you can see that we have a lot of recovery happening in India. So according to the stats, we get to hear that the virus which we have in India is a little, kind of harmful than comparatively what we had in China and other states of the world, or the other nations of the world. So yeah, we have a good recovery rate in India. Now let's rename the sheet as recovered cases. International level. Yeah. So I'm naming these sheets separately because we'll be using these sheets to create a dashboard at the end. Now let's get into the third query. What we have right now is find the total number of confirmed cases in India and what are the total number of recovered cases in India. So for that, let's create a new sheet and let's select country or region and confirmed. Now we'll be selecting the text table, and we have the complete data set right now. We have all the nations over here. So what we are looking for is just India. So for that, now we'll drag the country or region into filters, and inside this you can see we have an option of selecting India. Now let's search for India. GHI. So we have India over here. Let's select apply and OK. So we have the total number of cases in India. Now we can drag the state or province into rows, add all members. So in India we have all the states, and so all the states have their own confirmed cases. So this is the total confirmed state or confirmed count in India. Let's rename the sheet confirmed cases in India. Similarly, let's find the recovery cases in India. Let's create a new sheet for that. Rename it as recovery cases in India. So now let's select the country or region, recovery, and then let's close the show me icon, and now let's drag the country or region to filters, then none, select India, apply, OK, and let's drag the state or province here, add all members. Yeah, so you have the text chart here which represents the total number of recovered cases in India according to the state wise. Now yeah, this looks okay, but we can make it look a little more appealing so that it's more visible and understandable, readable. So we can make that happen. So let's make a duplicate of this and recovery cases as well. Now I would like to change the confirmed cases in India into a pie chart which looks a little bit more readable and understandable. Let's select the entire view so that we have a bigger pie chart and a little bit understandable or readable. Let's increase the size a little bit, and let's select the label and select the show mark label so that we have all the numbers over here. We can even select the province or state and drag it into detail, so we have the state's name as well, or should we tag it into label? Yeah, now the recovered into label again. Yeah, there you go. We have the state and we have the confirmed number over here. So this is how we can make the data look a bit more appealing and understandable. So we can see that Maharashtra has a larger number of confirmed cases. It's the biggest state of India. So maybe, yeah, that's true. And now we'll get back to the duplicate sheet of recovery cases in India. And now let's make it look a bit more appealing by changing the way the data looks. So for this, we can select the packed bubble option. Now we can see the packed bubbles which show the recovery states happening in the Indian states, or the recovery cases. So you can see that everything is looking in blue color, a bit difficult to understand. So for that, let's drag the province or state into color so that we can have different colors for different states. Yeah, now this is good. We have the country name and state name. This is fine. Now we can make it a bit more readable by dragging the recovered icon into, or the recovered pill into the label. So we have the count of recoveries happening in that particular state and that particular country. Now it's a bit more readable. Now we have Maharashtra at the leading place. We have a good recovery in Maharashtra. Yeah, that's fine. Now let's get back to the presentation mode and see our next query. So can we forecast a trend line of COVID-19? Yeah. So how it started, how is it going on? So we can do that. Let's get back to Tableau again. So let's create a new sheet. We have the new sheet over here. Let's rename that as trend line. Yeah, the sheet got renamed. Now let's select the observation date from the dimensions, since we're making a trend line. So let's keep it observation date, or you can even select the last update. Let's go with the last update. Now let's select the confirmed pill from measures. Let's select a line chart, or we can do that from here as well. Okay, so we're not getting the line chart, so there might be some problem with the date format over here. So we have to change the data type of, so I think this might be something with the date. Yeah, let's select the date pill and change data type to date or date and time from string. So you can see we had string first, so now it's changed to date and time. Now we'll be getting a proper trend line. So now we have it according to the year, so we can make it according to quarter, and even in the form of months. And so if you see this a little bit readable, you can keep it that way, or you can even change to days. So yeah, I think there is some problem with date and time value. So let's keep it in the form of months. It's more readable in one screen. So yeah, it's good. Let's remove this. So we have the month update. Now let's go to analytics to create a trend line, and you can select the trend line and drag it over here and select the linear option. So you can see here we have the trend line over here, which reads the R squared and P values and confirmed, and we have a formula for that. So basically Tableau creates a formula to create a trend line, so which is 5.280 exponent to the power of 8 into month of last update. So pretty complex formula, yet understandable. So this is how you create a trend line. So according to the trends, we have January, February, the quarters, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, and this is the first month of January. So here it is. So in January we find one. Okay, this is in billions, maybe, yeah, maybe even trillions, who knows. But based on the data we have in the last year, we have a decrement of the confirmed cases in January. So it's basically indicating that corona is basically or slowly decreasing. That's a good sign. Now let's try to find out the trend line for India. Let's duplicate this. So for that, let's drag the country into filters. We have the filter option, and let's select all. No, not all. We might want to select the Indian icon. Yeah, let's select apply. Okay. So now we have the trend line for India. Let's kind of rename it. Yeah. Even you can see a gradual drop of corona in India as well. So the number has decreased in India as well. In the earlier year, we had a lot of cases above 30 crores. Now we have nearly 20 crores. That's a good sign in India as well. Now let's get back to the presentation mode and try to select the next query. So according to the next query, can we group Indian states and find COVID-19 hits? Yeah, we can do that. Now let's get back to Tableau for that. Let's create a new sheet and let's rename it as grouped. So the sheet got renamed. Now we're going to select the country or region or province. Now for that, you can see the create option over here. Now inside that, let's select the group. Now we have to create a group of Indian nations. So select Andaman and Nicobar, hold control, select Andhra Pradesh. Now let's select a couple of states we know which are in India. Arunachal Pradesh, Assam. Don't forget to hold the control key for this, or else the options might vanish. We have Bihar, we have Chandigarh, we have Chhattisgarh, we have Dadar and Nagar Haveli, Dayu Daman, we have Delhi. Yeah, we are going to just select a couple of states just to show how group can be done. So fetching all the states in this particular column would be a little difficult, or we might even miss a few. We have Gujarat, we have Haryana, we have Islamabad, Jammu and Kashmir, Jharkhand, we have Karnataka, we have Kerala, Ladakh, Lakshadweep, we have Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Nagaland, we have Punjab, we have Rajasthan, we have Tamil Nadu, we have Telangana, We have Uttar Pradesh. We have West Bengal. And let's rename the group as Indian States Group. Let's select apply and OK. So after selecting the apply option and clicking OK, so we can have a new pill in the dimensions section that happens to be Indian States Group. So what we're gonna do is drag that pill into detail option so that we can have the results on our screen. So there you go, the states what we selected are right over here, all the Jammu Kashmir, Ladakh, and Punjab, Maharashtra, Gujarat, etc., and our Lakshadweep and the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Right, so we have all the states of India right on our screen. Okay, let's expand it a little bit. Scrolling on Tableau is a little bit difficult. I don't know how to select the default option for the screen. Yes, we can see these states. I don't know where the scroller is at. Yeah, we can always undo what we did in Tableau, so that's the best part. Now let's drag the states pill again so that we can have a perfect map in the screen right now. Yeah, I would like to not to mess with it again. It's pretty good right now. Let's keep it as it is. Now let's quickly get back to our presentation and check out our next query. So find the highest death rates at international level. So we are basically going to find which nation or the country has the highest death rates, and which is the country with the least amount of death rates, so which is the safest country. Now let's get back to Tableau. Now we're not going to mess with this particular sheet. Let's create a new sheet. Let's rename the sheet as highest death rates. International, INTL. Let's enter. So the sheet got renamed successfully. Let's drag in country. And let's drag in confirmed cases. So we have a map over here. So Tableau basically kind of selected the map as default. We can drag the deaths, and now we can actually change this to a text chart. Now let's drag the measure names into rows, so we have a little bit more, sorted kind of data. So you can see we have the confirmed cases over here and death rates here. Now if we kind of sort it in the descending order, yeah, so the order is being changed now. So we have our charts processed by Tableau for a better visual. So our chart got rearranged or ordered in the descending order. So with that we have the highest deaths and confirmed cases in US. So we can even do that using a parameter where you can create the top 10 or top 5 nations with highest confirmed and death values. So for that you can drag both, or no, you need to create a parameter. I think it's not required over here. Let's continue with the next sheet, or you can just simply duplicate this. Since the dataset is a little huge, it takes a little bit of time. Now let's rename this. Yeah, now let's rename this sheet. It's still taking a little bit of time. Yeah, now I think we can rename it least death rates. So now for that, we're gonna rearrange it in the descending order. Ascending order. So yeah, after sorting and changing some layouts, we have the least number of cases or death rates in the country called Makkah, where we have least number of deaths and least number of confirmed cases. So with that, let's move into the presentation mode again. And in the presentation mode, we have our next query that says, can we find the variation in COVID-19 cases around the world? So for that, let's create a new sheet again.
If getting your learning started is half the battle, what if you could do that for free? Visit SkillUp by Simplilearn. Click on the link in the description to know more.
So after changing some arrangements, or by making an ascending order arrangement and changing the layout or the orientation and everything, we have our final result, which states that we have the least number of deaths and confirmations of COVID-19 in the country of Afghanistan. So yeah, so we have the pretty well sorted, arranged data over here on the screen. Now let's get back to the presentation mode, and in the presentation mode, the next query that we have to deal with is, can we find the variation in COVID-19 cases around the world? Yeah, we can do that. So let's get back to Tableau and create a new sheet. Let's rename the sheet as variation of C19. Yeah, it's done. So to find out the variation of COVID-19, we might want to use the boxes and whiskers chart. Let's select the country or region pill from dimensions and confirm from measures. Let's hover over to the show me tab and select the box and whisker plot. Yeah, so you can see that we just have one box or whisker over here. When you see something like this happening on your sheet, then directly head over to analytics and uncheck the aggregate measures. So we have this kind of visualization. Maybe we forgot something, so we forgot the country or region to be placed in columns. So when you place it in the columns section, then you find out all the countries and the variation of COVID-19 in their region. Now let's sort it in the descending order so that we can find out the maximum variation which is happening in France. So of course there are less number of confirmed cases, but there is a lot of variation which states that they have something wrong with the climatic conditions or the weather conditions there. Yeah, we have a larger confirmations in, or larger cases in US, but there is some data which shows that France is leading in some variation. Yeah, so since we are calculating the variation of the confirmation of COVID-19 presence, we have France in the first place, where it shows that there is a lot of variation in the confirmed cases in France rather than US. Yeah, that's how we can find the variation of presence of COVID-19 in a particular country. So with that, let's move into the next query. So the next query is, can we forecast the sheet of future and reference of COVID-19 presence? Yes, we can do that. Let's get back to Tableau. For that, let's create a new sheet and rename it as forecast of COVID-19 presence. So the sheet got renamed successfully. Now we'll select the observation date from the dimensions and confirm fill from measures. So we'll use them, drag it to columns, and the confirm from, yeah. Now we're going to change this. Okay, there is something wrong with the observation date. So for that, let's select the observation fill and change the data type to date. Yeah, so far so good. Now let's select this to day. We can change that to year. Now let's select forecast option. Yeah, so this is how it's gonna be. So in the year of 2020, we had the confirmed cases around this number, which is 760,705,3464, so which is nearly 76,370 lakh. And in the 2021, the number got a little decreased, which is 17,130 lakh cases. And in the end of 2022, which is the forecast, we can see there is a little more drop. So it's a good sign that the COVID-19 is getting decreased. So this is the forecast of the COVID-19 presence in India. So we can change the path to step 1. The line is okay. The line is pretty good. No worries on that. So basically we've finished the queries on our presentation mode. So yeah, if we get back to the presentation mode, so all the queries on the COVID-19 data are finished. Now let's create a dashboard. Yeah, we have the dashboard right now, so we can change the layout of dashboard. Let me increase the width to 1320 and decrease the height to 70 or 760. So we have the entire screen right now. Now let's drag in the confirmed cases of international level and the recovery cases of the international level. Yeah, now we have it. Okay, or let's keep it in the top and that in the bottom. The trend line of COVID in the international level and the highest death rates in the international level. It takes a little time. It's still taking a little bit more time. I don't know what's wrong. Okay, it should be done in some time. Let's wait. It's basically taking a lot of time because we have a lot of data in that particular sheet. Let's kind of change that a little. Now let's change the sheet to yeah. Or we can just remove this from the dashboard and select the least death rate or the top 10 least death rates. So we have the sheet right over here. We have the top 10 ones only here. Yeah, this is good. So this is how we can have the dashboard. And now let's create another dashboard for Indian results. So again, let's change the dimensions of the screen. Yeah, it's pretty good. Now let's take the confirmed cases in India and drop it over here, and recovery cases in India and drop it over there, and trend lines in India over here, and Indian states, and the forecast somewhere over here. And if we get back to the dashboard 1, we can even add the forecast data or the variation data somewhere over here. And we can always change the height so that it's a bit more visible. So we can rename the dashboard C19 International Dashboard, and this one as C19 Indian Dashboard. Yeah, so with that we have finished the first project based on the COVID-19 dataset. Now we'll continue with the next dataset, that is the airline dataset. So now we are in the second project, and the second project is about the airline dataset. And in this particular dataset, we're going to take the insights, which are as follows. What are the total number of flights which are taking off in a day from the San Francisco airport? And followed by that, we have the next query, which reads out, find the busiest day of San Francisco airport. We'll be finding out the top 5 busiest days in the San Francisco airport, and followed by that we'll also find what are the total number of flights per day in a month. Then we'll find out what are the top 10 busiest flight routes. Then we'll find out what are the top 10 longest flight routes from San Francisco airport. Then we have to represent the flights flying outside the San Francisco towards different parts of the world using a map chart. So these are the queries that we'll be executing in our second project. Without further ado, let's get back to the Tableau. So now we are back on the Tableau dashboard. So let's select our dataset for today. So our dataset is somewhere here. Yeah, this is the air travel dataset we were looking for. Now we got our air travel dataset loaded onto Tableau. So remember I said about the interpreter. I'll select that and show all the. Okay, let the query execute. Yeah, so the interpreter query got executed. Now the data has been cleaned. We can review the results by clicking on review results option over here. We have another query executing now. So basically this query will take us to the Microsoft Excel sheet where our cleaned data is readily available for us. There you go. You can see that the red colored data is the data that is interpreted as column headers or field names. The green color one is the data interpreted as values in your data source. So it looks something like this. So we have our data fine over here, just looking fine. Now when you come into the route column, you have San Francisco to the other parts of the world. For example, we have Los Angeles here, etc., etc. But we don't have a separate field for origin and a destination. So what we'll be doing is we'll be splitting this particular column right away here. So let's navigate to the last column, which will show us the root. So you can right click this and select the option of split, which will basically split it into two halves, which will give us the from destination or the origin of the airplane, and to or the destination of the plane. So from, to, or the origin, destination fields we have right now over here. You can see that. So far so good. So let's quickly begin with our worksheet. Now we are on the worksheet right now. So what was our first query? So our first query was to find the total number of flights in a day. So for that, we have a simple step. So basically we'll have a particular number of rows, right? For the dataset what we've selected, we will have some thousands of datasets. So each and every row is actually a flight. So what we will do is just create a calculated field and just name it as number of rows. Okay, since we are trying to calculate the total number of flights, let's kind of not name it as rows. Instead we'll name it as flights, and inside the calculated field just write 1 and it should be done. So you can see the number of flights just over here. Just hover down the text and we'll have the number over here. So this is the total number of flights per day which takes off from the San Francisco airport. Let's kind of increase the text size so that it's a bit more visible. Yeah, that should be it. Let's rename the sheet. From here I would do the renaming from here because it's a little simple. Total number of flights. Yeah, that should be it. Now let's get on to the presentation mode again. Now let's execute the second query. Find the busiest day at San Francisco airport. So to execute the second query, let's just simply duplicate the sheet and rename the sheet as busiest. Okay, we can actually schedules of flights, or no, not schedules of flights, number of flights, or we can rename this as flights taking off. So when we get the count of flights taking off, then we can actually find the date which was really busy, like the date with the maximum amount of flights taking off. That would be the busiest day. So the data type is date by default. That's great. Now let's drag it to columns. Now the sum of numbers at this place. Analysis. Let's uncheck this to get a map. Let's make it by month or day. Okay, we don't need this. We don't need this. We don't need this as well. Now we have a chart over here. Let's change it to scatterplot maybe. Yeah, so we have the chart. No worries on the scatterplot thing. It's really a scatterplot. No worries on that. So right now we need to find out the busiest days. So for that we might want to drag the date into filter, and let's select the individual dates. Select next, and inside the top we have the yeah, we need to select by field, and now we have the top 10 number of flights. Yeah, we need the top 10 flights. So let's select apply. We needed top 1, but why not top 10? You will select top 10 for that. Now we have the scatter plot on my sheet right now. So let's kind of arrange it in the descending order. This shows the highest number of flights, or okay, we need to change this value to sum. Yeah, it is sum. So yeah, I got to know where we made a mistake. So inside analysis, we were supposed to aggregate the measures so that we can get the sum of number of flights. Now we have the total number of flights. Now let's quickly arrange this. Now we have the 3,166, 3,200, 3,295. Yeah, so 3,295 happens to be our busiest day in the year 2020, that is the 6th March, which had the maximum number of flights taking off. So we can actually make a set of these. The set of these, which happens to be in the March. So March happens to be the busiest month for San Francisco Airport. So with that, we have finished the second query. Now let's create a new sheet for our third query. Let's get back to the presentation. And the third query reads that, what are the total number of flights per day in a month? So for that, let's get back to Tableau. Let's try to rename it total flights in a month. Done. So for that, let's select date and drag it to columns, and let's make it to month. Let's remove this. Let's remove this. Let's remove this as well. Now let's check it to day, and now number of flights. So automatically we have a line chart, and we have the flights taking off from March 1st to March 31st, which happens to be the busiest month for San Francisco Airport. Now let's just tick the show mark label so that we have the number of flights taking off every day. So as we got the result in the previous sheet, 290 or 3,295 flights on the date of 6th March, or is it 3rd March maybe? Yeah, that happened 6th March. That happened to be the busiest day of San Francisco Airport. Now let's get back to the presentation and check the fourth query. So the fourth query reads, what are the top 10 busiest flight routes? For that, let's get back to Tableau again. Let's rename the newly created sheet busiest routes. Now the sheet is being replaced or renamed. Now to find out the top busiest routes, we need a calculated field to remove the effects of San Francisco Airport first. So create a calculated field, and we can name it as busiest route, busy. And now inside the calculated field, we need an if condition. Then if route 1 split 1 is equals to SFO, then route 2 split 2 else route 1. And yeah, the calculation is valid. Let's apply and OK. Now we have the newly created calculated field somewhere here. I will drag that into rows, and now we'll drag the number of flights to columns. So there we go, we have the bar chart over here. Let's rearrange it in descending order so that we get the descending order. Now we needed the top 10 or top busiest routes. For that, let's drag busy into filters, select top, and by field we have top 10. Let's just select apply and OK, and we have the top busiest routes from San Francisco Airport, or SFO. Now let's get back to the presentation mode, and in the presentation mode the next query is, which are the top longest flight routes from SFO? So to find out the longest routes, we'll create a new sheet and rename it as busiest, no, not busiest, longest routes. Yeah, the sheet is renamed, and you can see that we have geometric coordinates 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, and 1, 1. So these not 0, 1, 1 and 1, 0 coordinates basically provide the origin information, and 0, 0 and 0, 1 provide the destination information. So we'll be creating a calculated field for that. Now let's create a calculated field. So let's rename the calculated field as origin, and inside the origin we'll make use of make point, and inside make point we'll write geometry coordinates 1, 1 and geometry coordinates we'll need the geometry coordinates 1, 1 and geometry coordinates 1, 0 separated by comma, and done. So we have the origin. Now let's create another for destination. We are creating a calculated field, destination, and inside destination we are going to use the same make point and geometric coordinates 0, 0 comma geometric coordinates 0, 1, and select apply. OK. Now the origin and destination are created. Now we need to create another calculated field for distance. So we'll write it as distance, and inside that we'll use the distance function, and we'll write origin comma destination, and we'll represent the distance using kilometers. And select apply. OK. Now we have the newly created distance measure in the measure section. Now we'll drag the busy into columns and distance into rows. Okay, we made something. Oh, there's no problem. We can actually change the orientation. And now let's rearrange it in the form of descending order. Now we have the distance sorted in the descending order, but there is a small change. We have to change the sum to average. So once you change that, you want to arrange it again. Now we have the BLR, Bangalore, as the farthest airport from SFO. Yeah. Now we might want to drag the busy into filters again. Now we have the top 10, apply. Okay, so we have the top 10 longest routes from SFO. So with that we have finished our 5th query. Let's get back to presentation mode, and the 6th query. Represent the flights flying outside SFO towards different parts of the world. Yeah, that can be done. Let's get back to Tableau again. Now for the 6th query, let's create a new sheet. Let's name it as map flights from SFO. Okay, So for that, let's select the latitude and longitude and select a map. So we have the map right here. Now let's change that to map. Yeah, it's in the map section by default. Let's create a calculated field called lines. So we are basically using lines to represent the flights taking off from SFO. So I'll name it as line, or we can name it as flights line. Okay, and inside the calculated field, let's type in make line, and so inside the field, let's make use of make line function, and inside that let's write an origin and separated by comma destination, and the calculation is valid. Apply OK. Now we have the newly created flight line over here. Now we'll drag that flight line to detail. Now once we drag that flight line to the detail, we have the lines or flights taking off from SFO to different parts of the world. Now we can make it look a bit more appealing or more informative by dragging the routes, or into detail. So we have the details of routes, and we can even drag the distance into detail. So when we hover over to the line, we'll have the route and the distance as well. Yeah, so that's how it is done. Now we're basically done with all the queries. Now let's create a dashboard. So now let's kind of arrange the dashboard size convenient to our monitor. So I'll increase it to 1320 width and decrease the height to 760. So that's the proper size what I was looking for. Now we'll drag the details into the sheet. Longest routes. We have the flights taking off, busiest routes, longest routes, and total flights into here. Now it looks more readable. Fine, so we have the busiest routes, we have the longest routes, we have the flights taking off in the month of March. The busiest month was the March, and the busiest day was 6th of March. I don't know what was so special on that day. If you know it, please let me know in the comment section below. And yeah, so totally we created a dashboard. Now let's rename the dashboard as SFO flight data dashboard, and we are done. So we're done with the second project. Now let's get back to our presentation and let's check the last project, that happens to be the space missions dataset. So now we are in the third project, which is based on space missions dataset. So using this particular dataset, we're going to get some insights which are based on the queries on my screen right now. So we're going to find out what are the average temperature details of the launch sites, what are the average wind speed details of the launch sites, what are the average humidity details of the launch sites. So we need all these to before launching a satellite or a rocket into space. Everything needs to be in ideal condition. So followed by that, we have what are the different varieties of launch vehicles used by different companies. So there are a lot many companies. Few are from government sector, few are from private sector. For example, USA military satellites belong to government, and private satellites like SpaceX, and few others. Next, we have what is the mission status of the company. So we have a list of satellites launched already, right? So we need the mission status of that particular satellite. Is it a successful launch, or was there some failure record or something like that? Next, at the last query, we have the track records of launch sites. So what are the track records? So what are the successful launches? What are the failure launches? What are the satellites launched by different companies, etc., etc. We'll have a complete track record of that, of all the launch sites which are available in our dataset. Now, without further ado, let's get back to Tableau and start the project. So we are on Tableau. Now we're going to extract the dataset. So the dataset we need is the space missions dataset. You can get this in the Kaggle, or you can even have the access to this dataset from the description box below. Select open to open the data. So yeah, the data got successfully loaded. Again, use the interpreter, and it's a good habit of using the interpreter to clean your data and make everything understandable or look understandable. Show all the answers, everything is fine. So we're good to go with the dataset what we have in our Tableau right now. Now with that, let's get back to the first sheet. Now let's check the first query that we have in our presentation. What are the average temperature details of launch sites? So for that, let's create a new sheet. Yeah, it's created. Rename it as AVG temperatures. Or launch site temperatures. So now we need the launch site and select the temperature, and hover over to the show me tab, and let's select the bubbles chart. So now you can see the temperature is in the sum, but we don't need the sum here. We need to change that to average. Now we have the average temperatures of the launch sites. Now let's kind of select the label show marks here. So we can do one more thing. We can drag the temperature onto the label. Now we have the temperature here. Now let's again change the measure to average. Now we have the average temperatures of the launch sites in Fahrenheit. Yeah, that's pretty well. Now let's get back to the presentation, and the next query is what are the average wind speed details of the launch sites. Let's get back to Tableau again. Let's create a new sheet, launch site wind speeds. Now let's drag the launch site into columns and wind speed from measures into rows, and you can see automatically we have a bar chart, but to make it a little bit more readable, let's select the boxes and whiskers chart. Yeah, you know what to do now. Go to analysis, uncheck the aggregate measures options, and let's drag the launch site again onto columns. Now we have the different box and whiskers for different sites. So let's kind of arrange it. Yeah, so the wind speeds at Kennedy Space Center are here, 20 miles, and 23 at Vandenberg, and Marshall at 9. Yeah, so this is the wind speeds at different launch sites. Now let's get back to the presentation mode, and now we have to find the humidity details of launch sites. So let's get back to Tableau. Now we are back on Tableau. Let's rename it humidity launch site. Now let's select the launch site and humidity, then a pie chart. The pie chart is really small, so we can select the entire view. Now we have the sum of humidity, but we need the average humidity. And now let's drag humidity onto label and launch site to label. Now we have the detailed humidity. No, we need to select the measure to average again, and here to average again. Yeah, so we have the humidity percentage of launch sites. on the pie chart over here. So with that we are done. Now let's get back to presentation again. Now our fourth query, which states that what are the different varieties of launch vehicles used by different companies. For that, let's get back to Tableau. Now let's create a new sheet. Launch vehicle details. Yeah. Now this query is pretty straightforward. Select company and vehicle type and we should be done. So there we go. We have the company name and vehicles used for the launching of satellites process. Now let's get back to the presentation mode. Let's select the next query. What is the mission status of companies? Now let's get back to Tableau. Let's create a new sheet and rename it as mission status. Now we are back on Tableau. Now let's select the company, drag that to columns and mission status to columns, and we'll select one parameter from measures so that we can get a good bar chart, side-by-side bar chart. And now we can drag the company to color so that we can have different colors for different companies. So we have the mission details. So SpaceX found a maximum success in the recent days and little failures, and yeah, Boeing found good success as well and some failures. So these are the mission status of different companies and different satellites as well. So we have even US Air Force here faced some satellites here, some failures in some satellites. It's okay. So now let's get back to presentation mode. Now the sixth query is track records of launch sites. Okay, we had the payload as sum, so we change it to count, distinct count. So now we have a better observation of failures and successes over here. So as we discussed in the sixth query, now we need to find the track records of launch sites. Now let's create a new sheet, rename it as track records. And now let's drag the company to columns and mission status to columns again. And now let's drag the launch site. Yeah, I think we might want to drag the mission status to rows. Yeah. Let's click on text. Now let's drag the space missions count to color and space mission count to labels. Now let's use this one. Yeah. Now we have the stats or the track records of different space centers or launch sites, and we have the failures and success rates over here. Yeah, so basically we have done the last sheet or last query executed. Now let's create a new dashboard. As we always do, change the resolution according to the monitor we have. So I'm going to use 1030p. And height as 760. Now let's drag the sheets. So we have the launch temperatures, launch wind speeds, and launch site humidity at one place. Now the launch vehicles used, mission status, and the track records. So we'll kind of drag it here, and this one over here, this little bit over here, and this one over here. So now we can actually, select the track records of Cape Carnival. We have the site temperature, we have the site humidity, we have the site wind speed, and the track records of that particular site, and launch vehicles launched, mission status, everything on one single dashboard. So that's how you make use of dashboards in real time. With that, we have reached to the end of this Tableau for Data Science tutorial. I hope it was interesting and informative. If you have any queries, then please feel free to leave them down in the comment section below. Our team of experts will be happy to hear it from you and resolve all your queries. Until next time, thank you, stay safe, and keep learning.
Hi there, if you like this video, subscribe to the Simplilearn YouTube channel and click here to watch similar videos. To nerd up and get certified, click here.